Are you single, by the way? Dating, single?
I am single.
All right. How's that LA treating you in the single life?
Challenging.
Challenging.
Are you single?
I don't have answer for that.
So no.
Maybe yes, maybe no. It's complicated.
Okay, so there's more than one.
Huh?
There's more than
no,
one.
No, it's actually no. Like I don't have the talent of dating a couple of people at the same time.
Okay.
I don't. But it's definitely complicated.
Okay, so there's someone, but you don't know how to define it.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So how do you choose your dating? So as a strong, powerful woman, how do you choose who to date?
I like smart men, like smart, accomplished, interesting men. You know, it's a challenge too because they're usually divorced. They have young kids and things like this. And young kids, it's not really my vibe. Yeah,
me too. Same here.
No.
I'm like no.
So I try to pick people that are smart and interesting and successful in their own way. And I like creative people too. So I try to go that route and see what happens. Yeah.
As an independent woman, does it matter to you how much a guy makes?
I do. They need to have a job. You know,
they need to have a job.
They need to have
Is there a minimum?
I would hope they would match what I make or excel. Yeah.
Yeah, but so is a hope that they match what you make. But how about if you find a nice guy and is someone that you like? But let's say if you make, I don't know, let's say $500,000, and then he makes $100,000. How do you take that?
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
No, I'm not taking care of anybody.
Good, very nice. I tried it, and it's just really awful.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and regardless how hard you try, it's like.
They use it against you in different ways.
They do use it against you. And I don't know if it's the same thing if the man makes more money and the woman makes less. I don't know like how maybe the woman is more submissive or women take ownership of what the man makes. But the opposite, I find that really, really challenging when the woman makes so much and man makes way less. I find that extreme tough situation that is like maybe everything else is complete and everything else is almost where you want to be, but it creates non-stop conflicts.
Correct. I don't think there's any longevity there. I think if you want to be friends with benefits and enjoy the ride while you can, I would go that route. I'm not wired like that. I mean, I tried it. It just doesn't work. It just, life is short. You know, time is the ultimate luxury. You can never get it back. So I really try to choose wisely who I spend my time with.
I see. Do you care about age?
I don't, no.
You know?
I don't care if they're 70, 65.
Younger, older?
I usually date older, only because I feel like they have a good sense of themselves and confidence, and they're not intimidated by like an entrepreneur, someone that has their own business. They more appreciate it and respect it. Yes, so I do better with older.
Well, mentally, I feel like, as maturity, for sure, older-wise, but then I go back to, like, I like someone who take care of their body also so well at the same time, too. So there's always this conflict for me. I'm like, I want a nice body or I want maturity. I want someone to take care of themselves or I want them to look sexy and hot. Like, or I have to choose both of them.
I agree.
Right? It's just, how hard is it if only we're going to choose someone based on the maturity? Okay, let's say you're a beautiful woman. You want to make sure the guy taking care of themselves as much as you taking care of yourself.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, I go to the gym every morning.
Okay.
I don't have a dad bod, so I don't want to date someone that has a dad bod.
Right? So in that sense, a little bit older makes it harder for me. What do you think?
I agree. I think there's, an exception to everything, but if we're going to generalize here, I agree. But I had an experience recently with someone who was 53 and in exceptional shape, like The Rock.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's acceptable.
Amazing.
That's acceptable.
So from that standpoint, it was fantastic, But I think it takes 4 seasons to truly get to know someone. So unfortunately, it took 8 months for him to reveal that he, had depression, and depression to a whole other. I've never dealt. Have you ever dealt with that with someone close to you that has
that person has a depression?
But meaning to the point that they can barely function and they're like hysterical crying in front of you. And
no.
Yeah, it's very jarring to see somebody that you have great affection for completely unravel in front of your eyes. So, and again, as entrepreneurs, we're fixers, right? You want to help, you want to fix them, you want to refer them to therapy. And I did all those things, but then you sort of have to take the emotion out of it. And that's really hard when you're in it, and be like, you can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. So that's the challenge there.
Isn't that interesting? All, majority of female entrepreneurs are fixers that want to fix the man. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. If we were to talk to any psychiatrist or psychologist, right, they would probably say that it dates back to our childhood. Are you familiar with attachment styles? Do you know what that is? Attachment
style, yes. But so, what is it in common with all the female entrepreneurs?
I'm gonna say that if we're gonna go back and psychoanalyze it, I would say a psychiatrist would probably say it relates to our attachment styles and something to do with I'm gonna say, like, if you're anxious attached, it had to do with the relationship with your mom, and you're dealing with narcissist personalities and you're always trying to please them or things like that. So I'm gonna say it dates something back to that, But I'm definitely getting better. I'm definitely making better choices as I get older, and not. What did all my girlfriends say? My cutoff game isn't strong, but my cutoff game is now strong.
Oh, nice. Nice. Do you feel, so let's say if you were dating for the last 20 years, so would you say this is the best time that you're most comfortable with dating?
I would say I'm most comfortable with myself, and I know what I want, and I know my value, and I know what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate,
So true.
Yeah,
so
and I have
true.
no problem articulating that.
So true.
Yeah.
I feel like more and more I respected myself. I got to know who I am. I got to know what is my boundaries. Finding my boundaries in order to tell other people, oh, no, you're stopping right here.
100%.
So more and more I had boundaries. My choice of people were much more selective, much more wiser, much more better people that even if I end the relationship, I stay friend forever,
Same thing. I just had a situation with someone, and I didn't like the way he handled the situation, and I flat out said to him, I said, hey, listen, you canceled something via text. You didn't feel compelled to have a conversation. I said, if I was a business deal, you would have picked up the phone and explained and rescheduled. If I was a friend, you would have picked up the phone and explained and rescheduled. But here, that didn't seem warranted for you. I said, that's not okay. I don't treat people like that. I said, so, thanks, goodbye.
So beautiful.
Next,
Okay, question. Do you think that relationship was worth it to you to teach them how to treat you and not say goodbye? What do you think about that?
I don't know if I agree with the word teaching, right? I think you have to, meet someone, right? Find out, what the chemistry situation is. And then I think as you start to get to know the person, you sort of see, are you really in sync with each other, and what works and things like that. So it's, I don't know if I use the word teaching, but I understand what you're trying to say. And I think it takes a long time to figure that out. It takes time,
So, for example, I want to go back to this example that you gave. So when you express your feeling, how did he react to what you said?
Well, the best was after because it was all on text, right? Because why would anyone pick up the phone, right?
Yes.
And me, I would rather have a 5-minute conversation with you than send 20 texts back and forth, right? So at the end of that text, I wrote, "Do better!" ! And he replied, "I will." And I was gonna answer that and say, that's probably the first honest thing you've actually ever said to me, because usually I got the BS, I'm so sorry, and oh, my niece is, there was always an excuse. Yeah. This time there was no excuse. I'm like, but I didn't want to engage anymore.
I see.
I said what
so you just finished right there.
I just said what I had to say. Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is even I'm saying this because I literally hired a coach for myself from January because I'm such a fast decision maker. When people do stuff that I don't like, I'm like next, 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 next. Like I don't have time. But this year I decided to not do that.
How's that worked out for you?
I'm not saying it's a smooth ride. But definitely, I am expanding of how I can handle uncomfortable conflict situations.
Okay.
And I think it's giving me lots of personal growth and how way more effective of communication I can have with other people. And sometimes, and how I got triggered by this was when it happened opposite. So let's say to someone, my intention was really, really good, but they got really offended with what I said. But I really did not come from a dark place or like sarcastic place, or like I really didn't mean anything. And I was like, okay, so if this can happen to me, I'm sure this can happen to other people too. So instead of me being so fast on my decision making and how I'm judging the situation, let me give more time to people to explain themselves. And I am suffering since January, but
because there's so many people you would have weeded out, right?
Yeah, I am suffering, but I can say I am entering something new. Like my type of communication with other people, it comes from way more powerful place, way more place that is like way more mature, because it looks like I want to sit you down and I just want to discuss how I feel and how you feel and how can we do this so none of us is insulted or none of us is taking it in the wrong way. And it was it's a really interesting experience for me, instead of cutting off people.
Are you going to continue with the coach?
I'm going to continue with the coach.
Okay.
Like, she's kicking my butt on a weekly basis, but I'm going to continue.
Okay. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's tough.
What do you do for your self-growth?
I'm trying to get into meditation because everyone is on the meditation train. Mm-hmm. I'm not great at it. You know, the chatter comes in my mind. I believe in therapy, so I go to therapy weekly.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I think
years.
Yeah, I think that's evolved too. You know, I've had different therapists throughout my life. Same. You know, and
different techniques.
100%, and it's been extremely helpful because there were a lot of aha moments for me this year that I had in therapy, and I'm thinking, God, why didn't I not know this earlier? You know, I'm pretty smart, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, how did I miss this, or how did all the other people that I were working with why was this not pointed out sooner? You know, so
yes.
Therapy, working on meditation, trying to do like self-care. I have a dog, so we go to the beach. It's his happy place. It's my happy place.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Go to the gym. I'm big on fitness
yes.
freak.
I love that. What do you do in fitness?
Not yoga. I hate
yoga.
Yeah, same.
Not mine.
No, I have a trainer that I see 3 times a week, and then I like to do like cardio, running, things like that.
Okay. Do you like weight training?
I do.
Yeah. I love weight training. It just feels so different. I feel like, okay, like it took out all the poison out of my body.
100%.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
So good. So I want to go talk about the subject judgment. How do you look at this word? Do you care how people judge you, or what does it mean when people look at you and they have this perception of you?
You know, I really would hope people don't judge a book by its cover, but I think everybody does. And I think, you know, I'm an introvert, so that's always, an introverted extrovert, meaning like one-on-one I'm fine, but if I walk into like a room of 50 people that I don't know, I'm not going to walk up to everyone and say hi, but I think you would walk up to everyone and say hi. Yes, so you and I are very different.
If there's 50 people there, I would get you 55 phone number.
I'm sure you would, yeah. So you and I would work well together.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think unfortunately people do, and I used to care when I was younger. Now I don't. Now I'm just more focused on myself, and it's funny that you asked that question, because I feel like my competition is always so curious with what I'm doing.
Got it.
And I'm so busy working, I don't care what anyone else is doing.
Absolutely. Who has time for that?
I don't have time,
Yeah.
you know, and everyone's like, did you see my Instagram post? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I was working today. I haven't been on Instagram. And they're like, but you watched my story. And then I feel bad, because I don't know if this is true, but the social media team told me if you, like, you can click the stories on the phone and turn your phone down and go to work, and it helps keep you in the algorithm.
No.
Did you know that?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like you can just click the stories and leave your phone running and go work, and it'll,
And it will show that you reviewed all the stories.
yeah. So like, but people, like friends, I do try and watch. I'll try to react to them, because I want people to do the same to me. But no, like I'll get texts. Why didn't you answer me? Did you see my Instagram? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I was working today. I'll go look at it right now.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I am so bad in looking at other people's stories too. Like I do post stuff in the social media, but we have also someone who puts our stuff in our social media. But I have the algorithm of motivational speakers. It basically all comes to my Instagram is like so set, and basically all I see is different speakers, and like a different code can help me with give me that extra boost that I need on my daily basis. Sometimes I'm like, oh yes, so this is an awesome code. Like I would love to remind this sentence to myself while I'm going through the work. But being active in a social media, like my story will, my personal life story will matter so much. I don't think that will matter at all,
Yeah.
So, okay. So, what is the biggest failure that you had, and what did you learn from it?
I would probably say my most recent epic failure, it felt rather epic to me anyway, was I had opened up an office in San Diego in November, and it closed as quickly as it opened. So we were open for 1 month, and it was a great month revenue-wise. What I learned was I hired the wrong person. And when I saw what was going on, behind the scenes, I just shut it down immediately.
Wow.
I just wasn't in the position to control it from so far away, right? It wasn't like it's down the street from me and I can walk there. But then I really, obviously spent the holidays with my tail between my legs, like crying.
Wow.
Yeah. And then sort of had to say, okay, what was my fault here?
Yes.
I rushed to open, because the fourth quarter is usually the busiest quarter in aesthetics. I would say that it was probably my biggest fault there. And then I didn't vet out the person that I hired more. So that I had to lick my wounds for a couple of months, and now I'm gearing up to do it again, and I'm in Orange County, and I'm just I learned a lot, and I'm a lot smarter about it, and I'm hiring my team like in a trial period, And then one of the reps said to me, she's like, well, don't you want to have an opening party? I said, not right now. I said, I'll have one in September when I know who I'm keeping.
Yes.
know, when I know who's staying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your failure didn't stop you from doing what you wanted to do?
No, but you got to regroup and refocus, right? And sort of say, okay, what was my involvement here? What did I do wrong? And how do I do it better?
Very nice. I think that is so important to go look at what went wrong. What extra step I need to take in order to fix this. I think this, instead of running away, so you know what, this is not for me. I tried and it didn't work. So, because we're all going to make a mistake. We're all going to fail. Like, I think in my businesses, I failed God knows how many times. But when I rebuilt it, I built it way more stronger, way more, like, calculated to make sure, like, whatever I did, that it did not bring the desired outcome, like, it's just kind of out of the question now.
Definitely. I'm being much more strategic about it, and I'm doing it much more slowly. I'm in no rush to sort of get it at full speed ahead. I want to take my time and take my time to do it right.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you partnering with a plastic surgeon or anyone, or are you going to do it all on your own?
So my same medical director,
Okay.
so same one. Yeah, just the two of us.
Very nice. Very nice. If you, like, in general, now this is not a really question, I just want to know, so if you want to look at your childhood, so did you had an easy upcoming, like?
No. Oh my God. No, it was, I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Really?
Yeah, but I think, you could see between my sister and I, we handled it very differently. I was like, I needed to create a better life for myself, right? So I was the type A overachiever who did great in school and academics and wanted to excel, and she went the other way to drugs and all that stuff. So you could see how two different personalities handle adversity very differently. I just was like, I gotta get out of here and I gotta create a better life for myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then how did you make a decision that I want to be, like, from what age that fire started, that I want to be independent woman? I want to be, like, create a life for myself.
I can't say it was more I want to be an independent woman, right? Like, you hope you'll be married and have a family and things like that. But I definitely knew, like, okay, I need to create a better life, and I got to figure out how to do this. And so my route was academics, and I thought, okay, great, let me get all the fancy degrees, and hopefully that'll get me a good job, and I'll go on from there. But as the life lessons that we all learn, and life comes at you in various ways, in challenging ways, street smarts go as far as book smarts.
Correct.
I have all the fancy degrees, but that really doesn't make me smarter than an entrepreneur that didn't graduate high school. It's just a different approach. Yes. It's a very different approach. Not one is better than the other. For me, not having any of the parental guidance, I was like, okay, let me follow what society says is the best way to do things, and then I'll figure it out.
Okay. Do you think as a woman, be a complete woman, do you have to be married and have kids?
No, I think that's the notion that, is instilled in us, or back when you and I were growing up. I think right now what family means is very different. You see families with two dads or two moms, and transgender, and everything is gender fluid. So I think family really, what the definition of it is, has evolved, and I think that's great, and it will continue to do that. And I think whatever it means to the respective individuals is the most important. I would hope anyone would just have a authoritative figure in their life that shows them the way, good guidance,
For sure.
Yeah.
If you're by yourself, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel happy? Are you in your max joy if you do stuff by yourself? Or if you do it with your family or with loved one that are not your partner? How do you feel in those kind of situations?
Well, as an introvert, when COVID hit, I was pretty happy, like the first 16 weeks of COVID, it was great. And then probably by, week 16, I was like, okay, I need to go talk to some people. Yeah. So, I'm pretty self-sufficient. But, hopefully I find my person and we settle down together one day.
One of the reasons that I say this, and I even ask you this question, is because I feel like we all born into this idea of we have to find someone and we need to have a partner. This is what life is about. Or we have to have kids, which majority of us, so many different cultures, like if you come from a Middle Eastern country, if you come from an Asian country, and you're, let's say, 40 years old, you didn't have those, something is wrong with you, basically.
You're judged like that.
You're judged completely. So, the sense of who cares? Like, even if your own parents, what they think of you, who cares what the society think of you, as long as you are happy with yourself, you're having a lifestyle that you want. Maybe you want to have partner with you, maybe you don't want to have a partner, but it shouldn't be like, this is life. Basically, the life is created This is style because we've been brainwashed with it. We were born and we saw our parents, our society, school, there is this thing called religion. But I'm sure if you were, I don't know, in another planet and there were completely different rules, and maybe we didn't have to follow all of this. But just the fact that I am perfect, complete by myself, and if I want to choose a partner, I will choose a partner. But if I don't want to, I'm a very happy person and I have a beautiful life. So I think that should be an option for people. That should not be like, oh, you live by yourself. Like, so many people, they tell me, oh, you're such a beautiful girl, you're successful, like, why you're single? It's like, yeah, I have cancer. Like what? Like, it shouldn't be that there's something is wrong with you.
I agree.
That you don't have this. It should be a choice. It should be a choice.
100%. And I don't know about your friends, but when I look at my friends that are married or are coupled up, I can't really say that they're happy.
Miserable.
Yeah.
They're miserable.
Yeah.
I work with lots of people. I network with lots of people. 80% of the marriages that I do see, they're either unhappy, they're miserable, they staying there for kids, or they're cheating.
There you go.
I would rather to stay single for the rest of my life. I don't want any of those. I don't need to be with anyone to feel miserable. Like, why do I have to be? Maybe I only stay with you for a year, for 6 years, for 10 years. But I'm going to stay in that relationship as long as is catering to me.
Totally, to both people's needs. And it makes sense for both parties.
Yeah.
100%.
So I just want to put it out there. Okay. So since we talked about your childhood, so if you imagine yourself, you're talking to your 18 years old self, a 17 years old self, what would you tell that person?
Don't panic.
Aww. Did you had any support?
What do you mean?
Like, any emotional support, any role model, anything?
I had a lot of, I would say, like, academic mentors, that sort of helped shape me into the person that I am today. But yeah, no, definitely. First of all, I wouldn't go back in time if you offered me $5 million.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't go back in time. Yeah. But I would probably like to tell myself, don't panic. It's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay.
If you go back in time, how old will you be? I'll be 30 again. I'm fine with 30. That was fun. But I don't want to be 20 at all.
No.
I don't want to be a kid. I don't want to be a teenager. I can restart from 30.
Yeah, maybe 35.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would start a business earlier. I would believe in myself more to do it, that I could do it, stuff like that, yeah.
So if you want to tell another girl, tell another woman who's watching you that they are at the age 30, they are at the age 25, what would you tell them? If they always they're dreaming or they're watching you, they dream to be someone like you, what would you tell them?
Believe in yourself 100%. You definitely can do it, but it requires a tremendous amount of work, drive, ambition. And it goes back to what you and I said at the beginning of this podcast. No, people want to work from home and they don't have the drive and the ambition. So if you believe in it, you've got that fire inside of you, go for it. I have yet to see that fire in anyone that I've hired. Have you? I see glimmers of it.
Glimmers, but it is not sustainable.
No.
And it dies after 2 years.
Or it dies after 2 days.
Yeah. Like, I found myself until now be my own number one fan, my own number one backup, my own number one problem solver, my own number one everything. Because every time at any situation that I had that it got really, really hard, guess what? Everyone ran away.
Always.
Everyone ran away. And I stood there by myself. And I told myself, Helen, that's fine. You're going to survive. You're going to do it. You can make it. Just like what you said, don't panic. You did this once, you will do it again.
I always find a way, right?
Yeah,
And
I always find a way.
and I always figure it out.
Yeah.
I may not know what the hell I'm doing, but I always figure it out. It just takes time. And I think that state of uncomfortableness that we talked about, it's definitely uncertain. You just don't know. I think that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned in COVID. I'm getting better at going with the flow. It's not my favorite, but I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen. But it's all going to work out.
Yeah. It's very important to have that self-talk with yourself.
On the daily.
On the daily.
On the daily.
On the daily.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the biggest fight that you did for yourself?
In what sense?
In a sense of your accepting yourself, in a sense of valuing yourself. How old were you, and then like how did you find it for yourself?
You know, I hate to say this, but I think it's when I first started to actually make some money. And I think it's because you feel more secure, right? You're like, okay, I can take care of myself. I can do this. And then you sort of, you know, I think people have this weird sense with money, right? Like they're like, oh, it's evil. It's not. It's the currency that makes life a lot easier, you know? So I think, yeah, when I first started to be successful, and again, that's all relative, right? You sort of become more self-assured, more self-aware. It also allows you to do other things, meaning go to therapy and do the things that you want to do to continue to grow and evolve. Yeah. But it gives you more, like I see my girlfriend, you know, she's 5 years younger than me, and she's working for this crazy plastic surgeon and not making any money, right? But working 6 days a week. And I'm just thinking, wow, like, would I want that life? No, you know? Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I feel like as a business owner, sometimes we do want those kind of employees, but when it comes to like as a person, like I can't live like that for someone else. Like I want to be somewhere that I'm valued.
I would hire her in a nanosecond. Like she's a great employee, but when I see the grind that she's putting in for such a nominal return on her investment, I'm just thinking, wow, like yeah, like that's rough.
Is the person she's working for is a man or woman?
Man. A gay man.
Is a gay man. Do you think?
Not that matters, but
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But do you find it hard on the type of people you hire? You know, do you think, like, I find that if I was a man and I will do so many crazy things and I will have so many different ideas,
they wouldn't care.
No one would care.
But you're a bitch if you're a woman.
Yeah, I'm a bitch because I'm a woman. I'm like mean. I'm this. I'm that. I'm like, it's so many things.
Totally. The issue that I had with the San Diego office, I remember one conversation was, you know, I got a phone call saying, you know, I don't really like being micromanaged. And I said, well, my friend, there's a difference between being micromanaged and being accountable. And when you can do your job and do it correctly, we won't be having to have these conversations.
Yeah. It's completely two different subjects.
Totally.
Completely. But, you know, this happened because we were women.
100%.
Thank you so much, Cheyanne, for being with us today here at Femme Fatale by Helen. We really appreciate you. So bye until next time.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.